All right. All right, now, all right. So I've got the record going right now. So I'm going to start recording right now. And here's what I want to show you in a moment. So let me get my.
Yes, it is, because you ate majority of it.
So guys, so right now I've got the setup of our course is that when you log into Blackboard, you're directed right here to the home page. Now I do that because for the first week of the course, I want you to watch a couple videos, the instructor, my introduction. I also want you to review this Blackboard tutorial again if you haven't done it yet, even though I'm going to go over it again in a moment. And then you'll notice down here it's got a welcome. And then you'll also notice it's got the textbook information at the bottom. So I'm going to show you there's several places where I put this information. So here's one place if you're wondering about the textbook. That's the ISBN. It's a Connect access card that you need because, again, we'll get to that in a moment where you submit your assignments through Connect, and then I paired it up with Blackboard. But this is the book information. And again, you can get this for 14 days free right now, starting if you don't have it yet. But then after 14 days, you do have to pay for the code. So it's a free trial access period that McGraw-Hill lets everybody have for the first 14 days. All right, now that's under the homepage. Under announcements, I've already sent out one announcement and actually a couple announcements. This, of course, the announcement I sent out to, I guess it was yesterday. This, of course, was all the information. This will be the same link you will use all semester for Zoom. So whatever link you use to log in today, I'll just keep reposting this each week. It's also available right there where it says Zoom meeting LVL. I've got it there as well. But it's a recurring meeting. So if you're in right now, you should be good for the rest of the semester, of course, in case there's any issues with the actual Zoom platform. Now, I will use the announcements, even though we do our LVL sessions, I will still use the announcements to send you stuff, to send you reminders when we get to the exam, the quizzes, projects, or whatever. I still use that to communicate to you through your student emails. So even though we meet once a week, still check your emails regularly. These are your student emails, or whatever email that you gave the college, it will go right to that email address through this announcement. So that's how I use announcements. The next link is my background information. I would say, and some of you have already figured this out, if you need to contact me, email me. Okay, just my email right there. And again, let me check the chat. A couple people said they've ordered the book, but it's on back order. Again, you should be okay. If it comes into an issue, I know some of you have to get the book from the bookstore. You don't always have to buy it from the bookstore. If you don't have to buy it from the bookstore, you can also get it directly from McGraw-Hill, I believe, and their price might actually be a little bit better than the bookstore price. Not that it's that much different, but you can get, if you don't have the book yet, you can get it free. And again, I'll show you in a moment where to register with Connect, how to get to that. And so forth. Somebody asked if they think it'd be better just to buy the ebook. You know, it's cheaper. Your cheapest option is to do this, is to get the e-text, is pretty much to get what I put out there, the e-text with Connect. That's the cheapest version.
Okay.
I give you so much stuff where I give you all my recordings. You're gonna learn accounting by when you get to the homeworks. So, and some people still like to have that textbook. But let me just tell you, I give you all the PowerPoints. I give you lecture notes. If you can combine that with just working out the homework problems in Connect, that should be, in my opinion, I feel like that should be sufficient. Although some people still like to get that hard book. I'm just telling you, sometimes it looks like somebody found on McGraw-Hill. This is from Jay.
Oh, wow.
133 bucks. So
mine was
about 20 bucks cheaper than what our bookstore. That's, you know, for these days.
Yeah, bookstore.
What they give.
Bookstore has the
they do
hard
have
copy for 200.
Yeah, I would.
It was like 150 something, I think.
For the
I
ebook.
You have
It's like, I have the book
options.
up right now, and it was so much easier just to buy it from McGraw-Hill with the Connect, because I have access to the Connect, access to the homework and everything, and I have the book right here.
Awesome.
So you got it.
And how much was it, Jay?
It was like $133.
Yeah, that's cheaper.
See, now I'm mad because that means I really didn't even need the hard copy. I just could have just downloaded the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna just buy the ebook and that sounds better. Because the
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
hard
do
copy
believe you might have
hard
the
copy
option
is
to return it
209.
too. I'm not sure how the bookstore policies work on that. But in any
Can,
case, I
can you
would,
say that again? What'd you say, Doc? What'd you say, Mr. Guerrero?
well, again, if you've got the hard book and you don't want it, I would check and see if you can return it to the bookstore and then go and
Okay.
make the text. Just say
Yeah,
you
because
bought the
I'm
wrong edition and to talk to them. You know, now's the time where just about everybody is super flexible to accommodate just about anybody's needs.
okay,
So,
because I feel like that was like a waste of money then if if I bought the book and I really didn't like really need it. And I'm not gonna lie, when I did go over some of the stuff, like some of the assignments, and I went ahead and did one of them, I'm like, I don't
already,
even need the book. Yeah, I'm sorry, I did. I was a
well,
little
I let me just tell you guys this. I can't say don't get the book because what would
okay.
happen is, and this to kind of give you a heads up, you know, if there's a lawsuit or an issue and people say, well, the instructor, I failed the course, and they say, well, did you get the book?
Right,
And, well, the instructor said you didn't need the book, and then they failed.
right.
Then it comes back to me. So I just
Gotcha.
make it a requirement. And but in addition to that, I give you a bunch of stuff to assist you.
Mm,
So for now, I believe you could just get by with just the e-text.
right.
But that's just my opinion. Some people still like to get that hard copy and make notes and highlight and underline. That's fine. But
Okay.
anyway, so that's that. So guys, so that is under, this is under the My Instructor link. Now, if I go back up, the syllabus and class schedule, you'll notice that I have it, again, just to kind of beat it into your heads. Guys, here's, again, the same information. So even after tonight's meeting, if you send me an email and you say, what's our book again? No problem. I'll just direct you right here. This is the correct ISBN. Now, let me talk about the syllabus for a minute. So
Mhm.
you got the syllabus and then class schedule. The class schedule is also contained within the syllabus. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. So let me get my syllabus up for you guys. I have it open. Just a second. I think I do. Just a second.
Are we able to put links in the chat or no?
I believe you can. I don't think I have any restrictions on that. So if you got something you want to send, that's fine.
Well, that's the link to the textbook, and if you go all the way at the bottom to go to digital, it's 180 days for $131.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, I got myself. Okay, so guys, here's my syllabus. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
All right. And of course, you can open this up, but I'm just going to go through a couple things on this just to make sure you're clear on what's going on. So again, here's our course section number and everything. Monday night, LVL 7 to 9:50, no on-campus meetings. Here's my virtual. Typically for virtual hours, you know, I know we meet once a week. If you have questions or you want to actually meet, just like if you were coming to the campus to meet, you can schedule a Zoom personal meeting room where basically it's just you and I logged into a Zoom chat room. Again, if you need some help, you have questions, you know, but you have to let me know in advance and then we can set up a time if you need that, you know, going forward. All right, again, best way to contact me is email djariga@stlcc.edu. I typically respond within 24 hours. I don't like to keep you waiting, you know, and I often, if I don't respond to you within an hour, sometimes maybe I just didn't see it right away, or maybe I'm trying to figure out, you know, how to assist you, but typically I don't make you wait long on replies. All right, so I want to move down. You can read through the learning objectives and so forth. Again, there's your textbook information, but I want to talk in a moment about how you'll be graded. And of course, let me know if you have questions on this. And a lot of this pertains to Connect as well, and the reasons you need to get Connect. But here's the basic setup. 3 exams, okay, at 100 points each, that's 300 points.
Mm-hmm.
On your quizzes, you'll have 10 quizzes that will count for 10 points each. Notice the weight, 18% of your grade. Homeworks and quizzes are weighted the same. So a lot of people just want to skip the homework. and jump right to the quiz. Well, don't do that because that's a lot of points you're missing. And I'll talk about in a moment where you can get immediate assistance with homeworks. I've actually illustrated just about every assignment for you where I'm actually walking you through how to work it, explaining what you're doing. I've got videos on all of them, except for chapter 1, is because you'll see later tonight. Chapter 1 is so light that most of the stuff in chapter 1 is just really answering questions, but most of them will have illustrations. And then the last part is our project. So you got 4 components. Exams are 55% of your grade. 36% of your grade is quizzes and homeworks. And then there's a project worth 50 points, that's 9%. So listen up, all of these assignments, every one of these will be submitted through Connect. I used Blackboard to let you have all my videos. I use it to do grade recordings, to post announcements. It's for learning. And I use Connect for you guys to submit your assignments, because everything with the Connect platform is everything gets graded automatically. And then what happens is I just pair it up with the Blackboard, and it basically updates your grade in Blackboard. So really, you kind of have 2 systems going on here. You got Blackboard and Connect. Think of Connect as your textbook assistant. So notice the total points, 550. And of course, the exams I'll show you in a moment in the class schedule where to get those. Now, a couple things on the quizzes, all right? So on these quizzes, what'll happen is you get 2 chances, 2 opportunities on each quiz. That's a pretty good deal. So every quiz, you get 2 tries. If the first try you get 10 out of 10, then you're done. If the first try you get 8 out of 10, you can take it again and possibly get 10 out of 10. And I count your best attempt. Quizzes cannot be made up, so make sure you get them in by the due date. And again, I'm going to show you a couple different places where to go to take these. All right. On the homeworks, very similar. There's 10 of them, right? Homeworks, you get unlimited attempts. Homework is where you're practicing. So there's no reason you all shouldn't get 100% on homeworks. That's 100 points, but you still have to earn it. You still have to do them. All right. That's like if you were in class working some in-class problems and you were getting participation points. That's what my homeworks are, but that's a good part of the grade. I've had students in some of my prior semesters where they aced everything. They just chose not to submit homeworks, and it ended up costing them a letter, possibly 2 letter grades. So don't take those lightly. So they're there to help you. It's not there to intimidate anybody. It's homework issue or problems, just like if you were coming to class. And they're all set up, and I'll show you where those are in a moment. All right, project, you'll get that later on. You don't have to worry about the project until after we've completed chapter 6. Attendance policy. So again, like I said in a moment, I'll show you where to go. The way I will track attendance, let me check, there's a chat. Let me make sure I didn't miss something. So is there homework due online or should we submit? Okay, guys, all homework is submitted in Connect. Anything that is graded will be through Connect. You don't have to email me anything. You don't have to submit anything through Blackboard. You simply log into Connect. You find the assignment, you complete it, you submit it, and then that's it. All right, it's all digital. You don't have to worry about printing something out. As long as you can get in Connect, you should be fine. And then I will give you heads up, all the details, plenty of notice of what assignments are due when, all the due dates, and then it's just your job to make sure you do them. All the assignments typically are due on a Sunday by 11:59 p.m. So for example, tonight, chapter 1, everything from chapter 1 will be due August 30th by 11:59 p.m. And again, I'll show you where to get those in a moment. Okay. All right. So on the attendance, I will track your attendance, again, by a couple ways. Either you fill out the course readiness agreement today or this week, and of course, your online submissions in Connect. So I have, like I said, tonight I got 18 people in here, and there's 3 people that are missing. And so those 3 people, if they go, as long as they're submitting assignments, you'll be marked as attending. So that's something you should know, because let's say you came tonight and then something happens next week and you just can't make the meeting. As long as you're submitting assignments, you don't have to worry about your attendance and being dropped from the course. Okay. Just keep in mind, I do this course both synchronous and asynchronous, so you have live instruction. And then if you happen to miss the live instruction, you also can go back and look at all my recordings. So I got another question. Are the quizzes time? Okay, so the way I do the quizzes, very good question, is I do not put any exact time limits when you take a quiz. So you could, it might take you 2 hours. If it takes you 2 hours to complete a quiz, that's fine. The only time limit you'll get on any of the assignments is with the exams. So typically with like a typical exam, and I'm actually redoing some of the exams, so you don't see them just yet on Connect. But I'll give you like, let's say 2 hours to complete an exam, but those will be timed. But everything else, the quizzes, you could log in. If it takes you 3 hours to complete it, that's fine. But on the exams, because that's 55% of your grade, I do have a time limit on those. And of course, I'll give you the dates. In a moment, I'll show you the class schedule. All right, one more thing, and then I'll get to that class schedule, is the drop date for this course is November 11th. So I had to put that, they make everybody put that in the syllabi these days. All right. So having said that, at the bottom, here's our schedule. So for example, tonight is chapter 1. It's going to find very, very light tonight. We'll get this, I'll get started, probably about 10, 15 minutes on that, but we'll get all this done tonight. Next week, actually the next couple weeks, notice up through September 13th, that's because of Labor Day. We spend about 2 weeks or so looking at chapter 2. That's analyzing transactions. We'll get into the accounting equation. And then of course, the next week will be chapter 3, doing T accounts. Notice your first exam date is the week of the 21st. And it's over the first 3 chapters. And that'll be due on Sunday, the 27th. And I'll have all more detailed information when we get closer. I'll give you a study guide. I'll have all the exam instructions given to you, so don't panic on that. But I want you to look at the schedule so you know the pace of the course. You can see exam 2 will be mid-October. And then there's your project available. Project will be November 29th. And then this, since I got you, I know this seems like a long time away, but your third exam, which is exam 3, is the week of final exam week. And I want you to just note the due date. That one's due on a Friday. And I'm telling you this because everything in the whole semester, everything's always due on a Sunday, except for exam 3, which is due on that Friday, because that's final exam week. So a lot of people get confused, and I've had people, like, they missed the exam entirely because they thought they had till Sunday to take it. So I will remind you repeatedly, exam 3 is the only one that's not due on a Sunday, it's due on the Friday. That's December 18th. All right, now, so guys, that is the class schedule. It's in the syllabus, and it's also in the Blackboard side. All right, so let me get out of this, close that out. All right, let me go back to Blackboard. All right, so Connect registration. So again, if you have not registered with Connect just yet, and I've been checking today, and I know not everybody's registered just yet, but here's the details. I'm not going to open this up right now, but just open this up. There's a link on there. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can also click this link right here to get registered. And again, you can do a free access trial period. They will ask you that when you go to pay. And then you can get in even tonight if you haven't gotten there. So I've got Connect registration link. And then I also have another link that I just call Connect website. Not to be redundant, but if you click that, that's just another link to get you to Connect. All right, so after that, here's the course readiness agreement. So if you want to make sure that you're counted tonight as attending, and you don't have to worry about attendance for this week, and you don't have to pay for this since you're already in the course, click the course readiness agreement, which I'll do right now. And then you'll click this link where it says, after reading the entire syllabus and acquiring all required materials, you read all that, and then you'll click it, and then you'll hit agree, and then submit it, and then there's 5 bonus points, plus you're marked as attending for the first week. If you do not want to get the 5 bonus points, that's up to you. I always feel like you have a choice, but just make sure you do submit those Connect assignments then by Sunday, because the way I'll do the attendance is I always do it on Monday. Since this is live virtual lecture for this first week, I'll mark whoever has completed this course readiness agreement by tonight. Tomorrow, I'll go ahead and track attendance. I'll also do it throughout the week, but by Monday, I will try to make sure you've either done this or you've submitted the Connect assignments. Then you'll know that you're okay for attendance. And if you have any questions about, or you're nervous about the attendance part, just email me, let me know. All right, I got another chat. Okay, there was a question on the project. No, here's how the project will work. It's an individual project. You're welcome to work with each other. I have no problem with that. You can get outside help, but it is not a group project. I think that was from Tori. All right. So Zoom meeting. So here's our link. After tonight, I will have another link on here that I'm going to call it Zoom meeting recordings. So again, what we're recording right now will be linked. And then after tonight, you can go back and review it at any time. It'll be up all semester. Now, learning module. Here's the thing. All right, guys, this is where I teach the course. Learning modules. Every chapter we cover has a module. I call them a module. And within each of these, I'm going to open up chapter 1. I give you the overview. I give you essentially the agenda. Like chapter 1 is you review the lectures, watch the homeworks, or submit the chapter 1 homework and chapter 1 quiz. That's what you have to submit for a grade. Notice I have those in blue, more, different colored font, but that's your assignment for this week essentially. And here's my video. If you just want to play this, I'm going to actually go through this with you tonight as well, but this is my pre-recorded video, and I do these for all the chapters. You'll notice that I also added this, there's a handout I'm going to show you again tonight. We'll look at that. And then you got lecture notes you can look at if you want to print those. And of course, I also have a link for textbook solutions. This is for all the problems in the book. If you want to get in there and work extra practice problems, you can look at this. And again, if you have questions on anything, just let me know. So any module, let me go back. So any learning module, let me click chapter 2. Notice, again, there's my video. And some of the ones I do have textbook illustrations. There's not that much in chapter 1. So in chapter 1, all I gave you was a lecture. But in most of the chapters, you'll get textbook illustrations and homework. So when we get to chapter 2 next week, this says homework illustration. When you play this, these are the exact problems you will be working Connect. These are the exact same problems, just as if we were in class. And let me see. Now, somebody asked about extra credit. No. The only thing that's extra, at least in my course, is the course readiness agreement where I give you 5 bonus points. The reason for that, and let me just explain the way I grade, and I feel like I give you a fair deal on everything. I don't feel like you'll need extra credit. In fact, I think any class that you take that needs extra credit, I feel like maybe they set the bar way too high. In my class, if you stay with the pace, you submit your homework assignments, you should all get perfects on homework. That's a pretty good deal. You got the project. You can work with each other. You can even ask me questions about it when we get there, and I'll illustrate how to work it when we get to that part. But I feel like I am pretty fair on everything and flexible that other than the course readiness agreement, I don't do extra credit. I feel like what I've given you is a fair way to assess your knowledge of the course. All right. And so again, I usually get good results in my class. So I get a lot of A's and a lot of B's. As long as you, again, follow the weekly agenda, don't get behind. I guess one thing about this is try not to get behind. I'll get to this a moment when we start, but guys, do not worry about, if you don't like math, because you maybe be a little bit nervous about accounting, and a lot of people think it's all about math. It's not. Accounting is about rules and analyzing. The math component is very simple. Adding and subtracting is all you really have to do in here. So don't panic about the math, but you do have to know the rules. So yeah, somebody asked, Tanisha said, yeah, assignment. So you got, essentially each week you'll have 2 assignments. You have homework, I call them homework assignments. In the syllabus, they call them assignments, that's your homework, and then quizzes. That's pretty much your weekly stuff on that. All right, so again, this is under learning modules, all right? So hopefully you get very familiar with this learning modules. Now, here's what I just added. So I didn't have this added until I paired up Blackboard, but you should all be able to see this right here. It says Connect Assignments, all right? And so let me open that up. I want to show you this right now. You'll notice this is all of your assignments I've created for you that's shown up in Connect. Notice you've got a Chapter 1 Smart Book video. Those are optional. Anytime you see Smart Book video, that's the textbook videos. I put that out there as a resource. Those are optional. You don't have to view those, but you may want to. If you feel like you don't like my videos and if I'm confusing you, go to these Smart Book videos and watch those. Those are optional. But notice you've got, here's your Chapter 1 homework. due August 30th. Chapter 1 quiz, due August 30th. Those are your 2 assignments. Notice chapter 2. Chapter 2 homework, chapter 2 quiz, and I got the due date set up. Unless we have an issue on, let's say there's a bunch of questions in chapter 2 over something and everybody's confused, or maybe it's chapter 3 that a lot of people get confused. I typically reserve the right to adjust some of these due dates if there becomes a problem. I don't feel like there is right now, just yet, of course, since this is our first meeting. But if something happens and I feel like you guys just aren't ready to do that exam, or we're not ready to get that quiz in, I have the right to move back those quiz and homework due dates. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but right now I have them all set. But notice I have everything set up in here. If you just click a link, I'm not going to do it right now, but if you click a link, that should direct you into Connect. So you can actually access all of your assignments through this, where it says Connect Assignments right there. And of course, in the learning modules, I'm telling you, you got to do these. I will also send you, like after tonight's meeting, I'll send you another announcement, just making sure, reminding you of what you need to be turning in this week. And then of course, if there's any questions, even after tonight, just email me, let me know. All right, everything else, I'm about to wrap this part. Everything else, you've got lecture notes. You can print the PowerPoints if you want them. You've got all the solutions to the textbook. And of course, there's a part here where it says check your grades. And of course, once you've submitted these assignments, I'll refresh the Blackboard gradebook, and anything you've done in Connect will show up in your grades. And of course, if you do something in Connect and you aren't seeing your grade or whatever, just let me know. Probably because I have to refresh the gradebook for your score to show up. If you're in Connect and you submit it, it may not show up immediately in Blackboard, but I tend to refresh the gradebook usually the day after the due date. So if the chapter 1 assignments are due by August 30th, on August 31st, which is next Monday, what I will do is I'll refresh the gradebook, and then you can go into Blackboard and you can make sure that your grade has been recorded. Now, if you feel like there's been an error or there's a mistake in your grade, something happened, and sometimes I've had people submit stuff and they swear they did it before the due date, I can go into Connect and update your gradebook as well there. So don't panic, just communicate, just email me and let me know. All right, so guys, that's everything I've got for you in Blackboard. So I feel like you'll probably spend most of your time in the learning modules, probably in the Connect assignments. These 2 links, you'll probably spend most of your time when you're in Blackboard. And of course, maybe checking your grade. Everything else is really like from announcements down here, most of this is really for tonight and this week, making sure you're getting off to a good start and you know where to go for the first week. Okay. All right. I think in my notes, let me check real quick. Are there any questions? I know some people have sent me a couple chat questions, and I think hopefully I've addressed those. Was there anything else? Did I miss anything? Is anybody confused about anything?
So once we sign on to Connect, we register for Connect, we'll be able to do our learning modules and our Connect assignments immediately, right?
Yeah. Well, you can access the learning modules in Blackboard right now.
Okay.
But yeah, once you're into Connect, that's when you can start doing the homework. In fact, the homework, you can submit those multiple times.
Okay.
Unlimited attempts on homework.
Okay.
Until you get it right. And then just make sure you get it done by the due dates. Now the quizzes, you only get 2 chances. I give you 2 tries on each quiz, and I count your best attempt. So for this week, depending on where you're at, I mean, you don't want to just take chapter 1 quiz right now, obviously, but probably after tonight, probably in a couple days. I mean, you know your time, you can manage your time, but I would not wait until Sunday night at 11 o'clock to submit quiz 1. Just heads up, because just in case you have an issue with technology, internet goes down or whatever, I would not wait until the last minute, but again, you know what you need to do. I've given you heads up notice. You got the plan. It should not be a surprise to anybody in terms of what you got to be doing. And if there is a surprise, I'm not doing my job. So I will remind you constantly. After tonight, I'll send out another announcement just reminding you this is what's due this week, just in case you missed it. Okay. I got a question. Let's see in the chat. Yeah. So again, everything is through Connect. All your assignments, exams, And so what'll happen, I haven't set the exams in here just yet, but when the exams show up, you can actually find the exam eventually in this link as well. But yeah, all the exams are in Connect, quizzes, homework, and even the project. I did that just to streamline it, to make it simple for you. Once you are into this course and you're practicing, you'll know what to expect. Okay, I got another question. Okay, there's a question about the learning modules again. The learning modules, think of this, this is me. This is all my videos are in each module. Each chapter has a module. This is where I put all my recordings in every module. I've organized them for you so they're easy to find. I've linked them through YouTube so you don't have to have any special software to be able to play a video. So as long as you can get in the internet, just click a chapter. Your chapter 3, you'll notice here is, I've got lecture video, textbook illustration, and then Connect homework illustration. So think of these textbook illustrations as if we were in class working problems. What I did was I took pictures of the actual textbook and I went through problems, and I'm pretty much showing you how to work the concept. And it's not me, I didn't pay anybody else to do this. This isn't me going and saying, watch somebody else do a YouTube video. These are my recordings. This is what I would be doing in class if we were meeting face to face. Now, having said that, if you go into Connect, they give you these smart book videos, which are different authors and different people also giving you how to they're teaching the course there as well. So you've got 2 things you can do. You can do my videos and these videos, but I say these videos are optional. But let's say that I don't give you enough and you don't get what I'm telling you, you go to these videos and play these as well. That's part of the e-book that you buy. Yeah, guys, so your homework is just like if we were in class and I said, okay, the assignment for today is problem 1, and I'm gonna collect it. That's essentially what's in Connect, all right? The modules just have my videos and lectures on all my teachings, if that makes any sense. All right, the handout that we're gonna get to tonight, that's not in Connect, so that's just practice. That's just if we were in class, we're doing a group problem, we were answering some questions, that's just for learning, all right? That's practice. So the handout, again, the handout, by the way, let me go back. The handout, if I go to Learning module, I'll click Chapter 1 module. You'll notice here is the handout right here. All right, and again, I'll open this up a little bit later tonight. And this is very similar to some of the questions you'll have to answer when you get to the Connect homework as well. Okay. And so, yeah, it's all practice. So everything tonight's practice. Okay. So don't need to panic just yet. So I know some people don't have the book and they're a little nervous. But don't worry, I give you a lot of free stuff on here. What I would suggest you do, and this is just me, if I was taking this course, and of course I know how I'm teaching it, what I would do is I would go to the PowerPoint link right here, open up that zip folder. I've got all the PowerPoint presentations. I would print those and use that as kind of like a temporary outline of each chapter, okay? And then I would also print the lecture notes I've given you for every chapter, and then just take some notes on that, and then use those as you go through my video lecture, use those as you're working out some of the problems in Connect, take notes. I know that's a foreign concept for a lot of people these days because we give you so much, but I can tell you that if you are on the job, people still take notes when they're learning. We still use pencil and paper. I know that seems kind of bizarre in today's digital age, but it's almost kind of like a lost art. Let me just tell you a quick thing about note taking. So, and by the way, I am a CPA, and my wife is also a CPA. She's a CPA auditor. And she tells me lots of times on the job, of course, she's working at home now, but whenever they go back, they train new people. She often tells me that a lot of the new hires, these are students coming out of UMSL, Webster, Maryville, local universities. A lot of them come into their workplace and they either do not know how to ask questions, or when they do ask questions, they don't write stuff down because they're just so used to taking a picture of it with their smartphone, and then they forget stuff, and the learning is just awful. So part of what I would suggest you try to do, at least in my class, is take some notes, It is a skill that, unfortunately, for some people, it's a lost art, but that's still relevant, and even in the workplace for learning. So you have to learn new things. Write it down. I still write stuff down, even though you can post sticky notes on your computer. You can do all sorts of stuff, but I still have a little notepad. I still write a few things down. I find it benefits me. It helps me organize. To each his own. But I can tell you that, I think note-taking still has a place in the world, even in today's technology age. All right. Did I miss anything else? I'm almost ready to start chapter 1. Anything else? Yeah. So question was, can you print out, Diane says, can you print out the PowerPoints? Yeah. Now,
Okay.
if you do not have the Microsoft package on your computer, you can get it for free. As a student at St. Louis Community College, you can all log into the Microsoft website. You can download Office 365 for free. All that they will ask you is for your student email, and then you'll go through a couple buttons, and it'll link it to your computer. I think you can link it up to like 5 different devices. It's a pretty nice deal. You get Outlook, you get Microsoft Word, you get Excel, you get PowerPoint. You essentially get about a $400 package for free. If you went to Office Depot or Best Buy to buy Office 365, it's going to cost you a few $100. You get that for free. So to print the PowerPoints, you do need to have that on your computer. Just giving you a heads up on that one. Okay. But yeah,
Okay.
I would recommend you all print it and just kind of use that as your note taking. The stuff I'm going to talk about tonight, you don't have to really write a lot of stuff down. Because you're going to answer it in the handout, and you're also going to answer it when you get to the homeworks and Connect. Okay.
Oops.
All right. Was there anything else before I'm going to kind of transition now into some of the stuff on tonight. I want to get to some of the course content that I want to talk about tonight on chapter 1. It's about 7:52. I'll probably talk about 15, 20 minutes on this. And then I'll just say, let's take about a 10-minute break. We'll come back, and then we'll wrap up the class at the second part. Just like if you were on campus, we take a 10, 15-minute break, but I'll take a short break, and then I'll cover the rest of what I want to talk about tonight with chapter 1. And then we'll end the class making sure you know what you need to be doing going forward for this week and what to expect next week as well. But all right, so anything else at all before I get up on that PowerPoint? Are we good? Everybody's happy to be here.
So basically, we go to the learning modules and then we base that off the homework.
Yeah, the learning modules, everything in the learning modules is literally to assist you with the homeworks.
Okay.
Now, here's the deal, guys. Chapter 1, you'll notice there is no homework illustration in chapter 1. The reason there's no homework illustration in chapter 1, homework video, is because we're going to cover most of the questions in the lecture, if not in the handout. But you'll notice that pretty much every other chapter, every single chapter that you look at, you notice there is a homework illustration. All right. And that homework illustration are the exact problems you have to submit and Connect. So if you send me an email, let's say, for example, we're in week 2 or week 3, and just say you send me an email and you say, hey, Mr. Jariga, I'm stuck on problem number 4 in chapter 2 homework. My first response will be, go play my video. Okay, and not that I don't want to help you. I'll say, go play my video and watch my video. And after you've watched my video in the homework, in the chapter module, if you still do not get it, come back to me and we'll talk. All right. And what I'm trying to do is to teach you to be independent, to solve problems. That's one of those skill sets that employers desire. Be creative, work independently. And so, I feel like if I just give you the answer right now to everything, I'm going to be disabling you, and you're not really going to have those skill set that a future employer is going to need. So the first thing I always say is, if you get stuck on a homework problem, you're just not getting it, go into a chapter module, click on that homework illustration, play it, and then come back to the problem. And if you're still not getting it, then come back and let's see what your problem is. All right. Again, I will help you, but I want to make sure that you are using the resources to solve those problems. Just like if you were on the job and you had to solve a problem, you have to know how to use the company's resources as well.
You put her in, where did she go?
All right. Was there anything else? Did I miss anything?
Put her in her car seat and bring her in here.
Hey, Philip, are you upside down?
I'm trying to be.
I was just looking.
Just put her in her car seat and bring her in here.
Can everybody hear me okay? Am I coming in okay, clear?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And by the way, I do have 2 little ones at home, and I'm actually in the basement. So if you ever hear some noises, kids running around, I'm trying to make sure they're quiet for a couple hours because they'll go to bed soon. But you know, I do have kids at home too. Just like I know some of you have kids, and you know, life happens. So you know, eventually, you know,
Yes, it does.
you know, I wish we were on campus right now. You get, you know, like I said, live virtual lecture is better than just watching a recording, but it really can't replace that in-class experience. But we're doing the best we can, you know, because of the CDC guidelines. You know, our administration, they don't want anybody on campus unless you really, really have to be.
Right.
And so there's very limited. So that's why I say I typically, if you need to work with me and you have questions, I can always set up a Zoom personal chat room with anybody. I can send you the link, and then we can figure out a good time to meet. And it would just be you and me one-on-one with a couple questions, and I can help you out that way as well. I can use that as kind of like office time.
Okay.
All right, we're good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me pull up the PowerPoint. I still have it out. Hold on just a second. Sometimes it
All right,
disappears.
put your phone on, George.
Let me move this over. I'm just kind of get my PowerPoint arranged here, just a second. You guys don't see that, do you?
Chapter 1, Accounting, the Language of Business.
Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then we're in, good. All right, so I'm gonna leave it in this view. This is essentially the same PowerPoint that I used in my lecture video as well. So you don't have to write a lot of stuff down. I'm not gonna talk about every slide either. Just like if I was in class, I'm not just gonna sit here and read the slide. But I'm gonna go over a couple things that you need to know tonight. Before our break in about 10 minutes, I want to try to talk a little bit about the career opportunities in accounting. I want to talk about where accounting is headed. And again, if you have questions, we'll talk about that. If you have questions about what accountants make, if you have questions about the CPA, I mean, I can talk about that again tonight. I do want to talk a little about the career function of accounting. And then what I'll do is we eventually will get into talking about who uses financial information. We'll get into some accounting concepts. We'll talk about the financial statements that we're going to be preparing. We'll talk about GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles. We'll get all that in tonight. And then again, I'll show you the handout. The handout should answer a lot of your questions. But my goal is to get through everything in chapter 1 tonight. And then next week really is when we start to get into some of the transactions, I call it, is we'll get into the accounting equation, which is the foundation of the balance sheet. Okay. All right. So the first thing, I'm going to skip right to the definition. So if you look at this, let me see if I can get my annotation device on here. Let's see if it works. Good deal. So again, I will read this. Just bear with me for a moment. Accounting is the process by which financial information. So guys, financial information. You know, this is dollars and cents. So everything we do in accounting is going to be a currency based. And so accounting reports information, numbers about a business or entity. You know, St. Louis Community College is an entity, a business. Boeing, there's accounting involved. We provide financial information. What accounting does is accounting classifies information, it records it, summarizes it. I want you to get to this part. See where it says communicated? To me, that is the biggest thing about accounting is communication. Do you guys know that to be a good accountant, you have to be good with writing? In English, people hate to write papers. You know, I'll just share my wife's illustration. She's an auditor for Boeing. She works for the Department of Defense, and she audits the Boeing defense, the defense segment of Boeing. And she's what they call a contract auditor. And she spends most of her day working on reports. I mean, she does a lot of numbers too, but it's a lot of writing. You have to know how to be concise. You have to be able to summarize, use bullet points, be very concise, but you have to know English. You have to know how to write. And so communication is a big part of accounting. A lot of people think accounting is all about numbers and math, and it is not. It is pretty much just about everything, but you do have to know how to communicate verbally and written. Written communication skills are highly sought after, by the way. All right, so other than that, let me get back to I like my arrow. Notice who uses information: owners, managers. Basically, I'll just summarize, everybody uses it, okay? You guys have used accounting, you know, or you've been involved with it. If you go to a bank, if you've ever gotten a loan, if you have a credit card, anytime you fill out information, they want information from you. They want to know how much money do you make? Do you have any debt? They're assessing you. They're looking at risk. That's essentially what accounting does a lot about business. You know, accounting will summarize what's happening in a business. You know, if you want to buy stock, if you want to be an investor, accounting will summarize the financial information of a business, and then you got to make the decisions. Nobody's going to tell you how to interpret. So there's good people who know how to do really good judgments on analyzing financial statements. We're going to be preparing those in this class. So quite honestly, you know, can I say that all accountants are good at analyzing financial statements? The answer, of course, is no. But they do know how the financial statements are put together. They do know how it's prepared. And by the end of this semester, you guys should be very well versed on the 3 basic financial statements, which are the income statement, the equity statement, and the balance sheet. Don't worry about getting all that down just yet, because we're not even going to get into that in this chapter. But the next slide you can see is, you know, it says, what are financial statements? Financials, you know, they call them periodic reports. The thing about accounting is everything is based on time. And when we get into chapter 2, everything has a date on it, whether it's for a month, whether it's for a specific date. But a lot of accounting is all about time periods. It's very legalistic. You know, there could be lawsuits. There, you know, companies run into problems all the time based on the dates they put on their financial statements. So you got to be very, very careful with the dates. But there's always periods. It could be 3 months. You do an income statement. It could be a monthly income statement. But we do have a time period in which accounting reports on. Now, in terms of this next part, and I'll probably, after I talk about this part, I'm sorry, there's a question. Let me go back. I missed somebody. So is somebody trying to access the, Philip, was there an issue? I can understand your.
I don't know. I think I may have put in the personal instead of student email, and now I can't get into the homework.
All right. Well, at our break time, you know, maybe try to do it then, and then even after class, if there's an issue, let me know. I'll work with you on that.
I understood.
All right. Last thing, and then we'll take a short break, is just to talk about some of the career opportunities and what you can do in accounting. And I'm just going to be I'm a straight shooter. I'll tell you honestly, you know, where the field's going. Bookkeepers and accounting clerks, there's not a big demand for that. There are jobs out there, but if you think about what computers can do with automating and, you know, repetitive transactions, a lot of the stuff has been automated. A business would rather buy a computer program than to pay an hourly person or to pay you to do the debits and credits and that kind of stuff when we get to it. Now, that doesn't mean you still don't need to understand it. You do, which is what's nice about this class is we'll still talk about how you put this stuff together, but I'm just talking about down the road, you know, what, if you want to have a career in accounting, I'm telling you, it's not going to be as a bookkeeper and it's not going to be as an accounting clerk. You know, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, those jobs are not going to be there. You're going to be more of an analytical role. You got to know how to use software. You have to know how to use Excel. You have to know how to solve problems. That is where the field is headed. It's not what it used to be. It used to be you memorize something and you do it over and over again and you never have to learn much new. You're set for the next 10, 15 years. I know that sounds pretty boring, but a lot of people like that. A lot of people, once they learn something, they just want to do it, and they don't want to have to learn anything new. Well, if that's what you want, accounting is not the place for you. Accounting is always changing. We'll talk about GAAP tonight, the generally accepted accounting principles. You have to keep up on the rules and when to recognize revenues and expenses and all this stuff. It's a constant, change is constant in accounting. You're always learning new stuff. And so it used to be you could learn it and then just retire after 25, 30 years and you're done. That doesn't work in accounting. And quite honestly, I think you want that. I think you want to keep fresh, because if you just do one thing over and over again, a lot of people say, well, as long as I get paid, money, a lot of people are motivated by money, but you'd be surprised that you get into a job where you're working and you're just doing something so repetitive, it's so boring. Sometimes all the money in the world isn't going to make you happy with that. All right. I was in a situation where, this is back in the 90s. Of course, a lot of my industry, I was back working in a couple of big companies. I did some of that stuff, and man, I just did not like it. And then, of course, when I moved up into more of the financial manager type of roles, I liked that stuff because I felt like I could make decisions, and I like to be part of, making the difference. I didn't just want to be a part where I'm doing this little piece of the puzzle, and that's all they needed from me. In fact, a lot of those type of jobs have dried up anyway. But there is big demand for accounting if you want to go into fraud. If you think about what's happening with today's society, you're always hearing the word fraud. People are always stealing stuff. Identity theft. We have election results coming up. Accounting will be involved with that. Typically it's your CPA firms that will do an audit to make sure everything is accounted for properly. And by the way, since I just said that, I told you at the start, I'm not trying to make everybody a CPA. Some of you may not even know what a CPA means. Maybe you've never even heard.
Certified public accountant.
Got it. That's
my dream.
Yeah, that's what you want. I mean, if you're going, I'm telling you right now, if you are going into accounting and you want to be competitive for jobs, and I'm talking about not just your first job, but I'm talking about years later, is to get that CPA. Once you get that CPA, I'm not kidding you, it does not matter if you went to UMSL or Harvard, that CPA will carry the same weight, all right? Because when you market that on your resume, you put CPA, that's the highest credential you can get in accounting. Now you say, well, what about PhD? Well, guys, PhD in accounting, which is a pretty good thing to get. That's the only good that's for you, that's for teaching and research, all right? I'm talking about industry, guys. Industry is what you want that CPA. And again, there's a lot of stuff to get into with the CPA, and you have to take an exam and you got to take a review course. I'm not going to talk about all that tonight, but of course, I'm just mentioning this. If you are interested throughout the semester and you want to get more information on what it takes to become a CPA, to get licensed, and all that is actually changing right now in the state of Missouri, just let me know. I can send you some resources on that. But like I said, you're not going to be prepared to take the CPA exam after taking this course. All right, this is too much. This is just an introductory accounting course, but I'm just telling you, just keep that right now. If you're starting out and you're thinking, I don't know what to do, and a lot of people have a hard time making decisions on where to take themselves in terms of career, I'm just telling you, if you get that CPA, you don't have to actually be an accountant either. You'd be surprised. You put CPA after your name, and that can lead to a lot of other non-accounting jobs, but the fact that they see CPA, they look at you differently, because they know that's a high standard. That is, the fact, the standard. In fact, it's so well sought after. We think of it as a U.S. certification. Other countries, like people in China, all over Japan, they try to get it because they know it. They can make a lot of money. They can take that U.S. CPA credential back to their own country and can make a lot of money. There was something that happened even a few years ago where they had to take it down, where in Canada came up with their own credential, and they called it Canadian Public Accountant. Guess what? CPA. And there was a problem with that because a lot of people say, well, CPA really is it's a global designation. And so I can't remember what happened, but I think people realize that CPA means it's a AICPA. It's basically written by the U.S. It's the FASB group, which we'll get to later tonight. It's basically our government, our agencies write it. It's all U.S. based. And it's so highly sought after, guys. This is what you want if you're going into accounting. That's the credential you want to be seeking. All right. You get that. And I'm not going to say you're set, but I'm just saying that's what you want. You're going to be more competitive versus other people in accounting who do not have it. You could have an MBA. So an MBA versus a CPA going for an accounting job, 9 times out of 10, the CPA is going to get it. Just because the people that are doing the hiring, it's kind of like a club. So if you know what it takes, it's a tough test. You know what it took you to get that CPA. So when you see somebody who is applying for a job in your company and say you got some influence over that and you've got your CPA, you're going to give more weight to that person who has the CPA versus the person who does not. And by the way, that doesn't mean that the person who doesn't have it wouldn't be a good worker either. It's just, guys, it's all about getting in the door. You just want to make sure you get that job, get some experience, and then once you get in, then you gotta prove yourself. But guys, that's the credential you want. All right, and then last, real quick, and then we'll take a quick break. Last thing I just want to mention is these areas. So the areas typically you go into accounting, they call it public accounting, managerial, and governmental. And you can make a lot of money in all 3 of these. All right. Public accountants can make real good money. You could be a consultant, you could be auditor, you could be a financial, like I said, you advise companies. You could do what they call financial statement compilations, where you prepare other businesses' financial statements. You can do other businesses' payroll. You become partner. I've got a friend. He's up in Iowa. He used to live in St. Louis. He just made partner. Well, actually, it's been a few years, but he's not even at one of the large CPA firms, public firms. And I can tell you, I looked it up. I don't know exactly what he's making. I'm into my business, but you can look up industry trends. If you're a partner, which usually takes about 10 to 12 years to reach the partner level at some of these public firms, you're going to be making well into your 6-figure salary, well into the 6 figures. All right. And yeah, that's more than 100 grand. That's in some cases $200,000-300,000 a year, just in the public sector. When they say managerial accounting, that's more, when they often refer to that as private accounting. Well, that's like if you're working at like a Boeing, or you're working at, I guess it's Bayer now. Didn't Bayer buy Monsanto, I believe? Or you're working at Edward Jones and you're doing some of the accounting work at some of those companies. They call that managerial. And the reason they call that managerial, it's more internal type of accounting. Whereas public accounting, you're serving, like I said, you're serving the public's interest. Managerial accounting, you're typically serving people within an organization. Governmental accounting, there's a lot of stuff, IRS, even the FBI. You could be a forensic accountant for the FBI. There's a lot of stuff in the accounting sector. My wife works for the government. She's the Department of Defense. That's actually here in St. Louis. You got Boeing. So she actually, is a sector of the Department of Defense. And the nice thing about that is anytime you work for the Department of Defense, they very rarely cut funding for anything that's defense related. If you ever watch the media, watch the news, anything defense related, and guys, it doesn't matter who's in office, whether, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. They very rarely cut defense. And so even in this pandemic, my wife's agency, that's called the DCAA, she works for what they call the Defense Contract Audit Agency. They still hire people. They're still hiring. So they got money. So I'm just telling you, there's accounting field, even governmental, it's a really good place to go. All right. Okay, so I'm going to stop on that slide. Now, again, I'll go back over, I got the certified public accountant. You could read through a lot of that. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I want to get into some of the nuts and bolts of some accounting and business terms. We'll get into some of the users. We'll talk about, I want to make sure you get the different types of entities, because remember, accounting does report information about these entities. So I want to make sure you understand the difference between a sole proprietorship, a partnership, and a corporation. And I do know some of this you might get in if you take an intro to business class, but again, we'll talk about that again tonight. And then I'll wrap it up with talking about some things like the separate entity assumption. We'll talk about GAAP, and what that is. And I'll talk a little bit about the auditor's report. And then I'll show you the handout. And then that should about wrap it up. It shouldn't take us more than probably a half an hour to get through all that. All right, so what I'll do now is I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.